Right, shall we kick off?
Yeah, it's a juicy one.
Too hot for TV.
Welcome back to Doctor Who Too Hot for TV. We are the podcast that looks at all things Doctor Who Extended Universe. Today, I'm joined by a regular around these parts. It's Luke Molloy.
Hello, yes, I'm back. I've not done a podcast for a while, so it's very nice to be asked back.
And we're hurtling towards the end of this season. You make up part one of the two-part season finale after a mammoth run. You're the last regular episode, and then next week, me and Jackson will be finishing off our look at the non-Who's replacement Who's of the 90s. So you're basically the season finale. He's the season finale of Torchwood.
Next week is the post-nut clarity from what we'll be discussing today.
Exactly. So, Luke, pray tell, what are we discussing today?
So we've combined Lungbarrow, iconic, famous, possibly the most famous Doctor Who book. Even like fans that have been fans for a day know what Lungbarrow is, and they know how rare it is. What they might not know is how rare our second item is.
Indeed,
which is Doctor Screw. We're covering 3 episodes of Doctor Screw, which was a 2005, 2006.
Hang on, only 3.
What have you done?
I've watched 9. Fuck!
Dylan.
Look, I work from home. I work from home, mate. My balls are empty. No, I have watched 9.
Oh my God. Well, you could actually fill in so much.
Dr. Screw was doing the filling in.
I mean, some people might genuinely not know what it is because it is actually, it's more niche than we think. And it was, it is. Do you not think it is?
It is very niche. I mean,
it's a 2005, 2006 porn parody of Doctor Who. But like to the point where it really matches the series beat for beat. There's 13 episodes. They came out on those like DVD cases that series 1 and 2 came out, where they split them into 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah.
And they had gold backgrounds and purple backgrounds. and it is genuinely rarer than Lungbarrow.
Yeah.
You can get a copy of Lungbarrow on eBay for 300 quid. You cannot get a copy of Doctor Screw.
And like Lungbarrow, if you know where to look, I mean, it's on the BBC website, isn't it? If you want to just read it, and there are other places you can get it. Doctor Screw, finding the full run of that online was now because we've talked about doing this for about a year, about 18 months, I think. But I put my best people on it. The sort of people that find anything, that use corners of the internet that scarcely bears thinking about.
Yeah,
but,
the Patrick Troughton line.
Yeah. But nobody could find it, and eventually we dug a few episodes out, or you did. But
yeah, we'll dive into that. As some Doctor Who podcasts say, we will get there.
We will get there. Let's put aside any thoughts of sexual intercourse and dive into a story that doesn't like the thought of Doctor Who getting his wicked way with anybody, and that is Lungbarrow, which was written by Marc Platt, and it came out from Virgin Books on the 20th of March 1997, with a cover by Fred Gambino, who was obviously a mobster of some sort. News at the time, Tom Baker returns to the TARDIS in the New Zealand commercial run that he did, that special commercial run that me and Cy Hart covered a while back. It's Tom Baker in a TARDIS set selling life insurance or pensions or something like that. The people behind the ill-fated Last of the Time Lords movie were suing the BBC for the loss of a £1 million investment and £14 million profit. I don't think that ever came to anything. The covers for the first Eighth Doctor adventure and past Doctor adventure from BBC books were released, and David Sinclair, who played a Swampy, had just died, as had Nicholas Mallet, who directed Paradise Towers, Curse of Fenric, and The Mysterious Planet. Merch-wise, we had the Radio Times Doctor Who comic strip. We had both Perceptions and Coda running that month. The comic strip was A Life and Death Matter featuring the 8th Doctor and Izzy, and the missing adventure was The Dark Path featuring the 2nd Doctor, Jamie and Zoe, and was a story about the origins of the Master, which I've never read. Anything there, tickle your tits?
No, I must have read the comic, that Izzy and 8th Doctor one,
Yeah.
but it doesn't ring a bell.
No.
Nicholas Mallet must have been young?
Yeah,
I'm
he was
guessing.
fairly young, yeah.
Yeah?
So we're at a changing point in Doctor Who's history. The TV movies come and gone. The licenses that the BBC threw out for fiction have been withdrawn, and the Virgin New Adventures are coming to an end.
Too hot for TV.
The Doctor returns to his ancestral home, Lungbarrow, on Gallifrey, after it becomes unsealed following centuries of disgrace, having previously been buried in shame. Inside, he finds his estranged cousins, who resent their long imprisonment. Joined by Romana, Leela, K9 and Chris, the Doctor uncovers the truth about his past. He was not created by a loom like other Time Lords, but was a naturally born child, a forbidden act that led to the house's downfall. As the living structure of Lungbarrow decays and family tensions erupt, the Doctor confronts his origins and the origins of Gallifrey to restore the house, solving a murder he had previously been framed for, and comes to terms with his place in ancient Gallifreyan history before departing to face his destiny on Skaro.
Too hot for TV.
What is your relationship with the Virgin New Adventures?
My dad found about 6 or 7 in a charity shop and just bought them and brought them home. That did not include Lungbarrow, but that sort of... I must have sort of watched the classic series at this point, been around 12, 13 and gone, oh wow, these exist, there's more. And then you go on the forums and someone told me to get Cat's Cradle and I didn't understand a word of it. But I remember writing a comment in reply to someone and being like, that was amazing.
What age would you have been?
I reckon about 13, 14.
Wow.
I remember what age I was with Lungbarrow, and that was 16.
Oh, wow. So when did you first hear of the existence of Lungbarrow?
I'm going to say 15, because I think once I knew of it existing, that was like, I got it for my 16th birthday, which is why I remember it. And it was a big thing, you know. It was like, you're going to spend £50 on a book. Are you sure you want to do that? It was
Great investment.
Yeah, I know. Pretty much my mum's word.
It's a family tradition. On their 16th birthday, every Doctor Who fan's gifted a copy of Lungbarrow, aren't they? And they say, boy, you are a man now. You may go out and face the world.
That's how it felt. But I remember sort of reading about the general gist of it on Doctor Who Wiki, and for some reason, someone must have lied to me and said that the Doctor's name was confirmed in Lungbarrow. And that was a huge driving force for me getting it. Quite disappointing by the time I got to the end that it still wasn't there.
It's Snail, isn't it? That's what people, which is another nickname like Theta Sigma.
Yeah. He's not really got a good nickname, has he?
No, he's
The
better off with
Doctor.
the Doctor.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was it. And I think it didn't really matter what the quality of the book was. I was just going to find it amazing anyway, because it was full of lore. And that's the phase of fan I was in at the time.
I've said this before on this podcast, but I didn't have a great time with the New Adventures when I first picked them up because I was like 12, 13 and they were a bit impenetrable. And in my late teens, Jackson, who was much younger and much cleverer than me, started reading the New Adventures. And I think he was the one to first tell me about Lungbarrow and go, there's this story and it's kind of like the finale to the 7th Doctor's era that we never got. And it's sort of a finale to Doctor Who in a way. So I became obsessed with it. And I think I picked up a copy, which I gifted to him, maybe for his birthday, for, I think it was about 30 quid. So it would have been a few years before I think you picked it up. but it was about 30 quid. And I'd started reading The New Adventures by that point, and that was one that I picked up and read, and I was, very excited because I was still very invested in the lore of Doctor Who at that point. I wanted my Doctor Who lore heavy. So its reputation was begin to seep through fandom, because at the time, I remember The New Adventures ending, and it was just another Doctor Who book that actually probably was a bit boring to 13, 14-year-old me. I was much more interested in the 8 Doctors because it's got 8 Doctors in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I also picked that one up, to be fair. But yeah, I think if The New Adventures had come at the right time, which it couldn't have because I was 1 when Lungbarrow came out, but if it had come at the right time, I could see myself being absolutely hooked on these books. It was just...
You see why a group of fans who were in their early 20s remember these books so fondly, and indeed the Lungbarrow. So what was Lungbarrow's reputation? What is Lungbarrow's reputation?
Now or then? I think, well, it's not much changed.
I don't think it's changed.
There is this almost godly thing placed on it of, you find out everything about the Doctor's origins, and it is like an ending of sorts. It's a final chapter of sorts. And I don't think for anyone that's actually got it, and we'll obviously get into this, I don't think the plot does much to contribute to this reputation. I think it is the fact that it's set on Gallifrey, and Gallifrey feels slightly different. Yeah. And then it is partly also the price. I think the whole thing about the price, combined with the fact that you pay that price to find out about the Doctor's origins, sort of combines in this weird mythical beast that is Lungbarrow, and a final little bit of it could have been a TV story.
Yeah.
And because it could have been in season 26, and Ghost got filmed last, it sort of feels like, this could have been the ending. So all that combined into one makes it feel like this mythical beast. Yeah,
I think I remember it thinking it was steeped in lore all the way through, but actually they do a little bit in the middle, and most of it's at the end, the last couple of chapters are where it really goes deep into it. The rest of it's basically a bit of a timey-wimey murder mystery. But it's written by Marc Platt. Are you a Marc Platt fan?
I'd say he's the most interior divisive writer. I either love him or hate him, and he seems to create worlds, and I think if you get on board with that world early, it can be really immersive and quite good, and if you don't, they're so boring.
Yeah.
So I seem to fluctuate between the two.
Yeah. I don't think he's hit and miss. I think it's whether you're invested in the particular world he's building at the time.
Yeah.
So I remember thinking that Lungbarrow was an amazing story, and obviously, spare parts. But I listened to
Quinnis.
Not Quinnis.
He did Quinnis.
He did Quinnis. The Unbound story he did for the Geoffrey Bayldon Doctor. I remember coming out of that and thinking, I really enjoyed the world he built, but it just wasn't for me, if that makes sense. I was just, I don't quite like this version of Doctor Who.
That's how I feel, but I feel like you get that feeling 15 minutes in, and then it's sitting through it, which obviously you don't have to do, but we do.
Yeah. So this is, to all intents and purposes, the finale to The New Adventures. I know there's another book after that, but that's more of a coda. Is it a good read? Does it feel like a finale?
Oh, it's odd coming back to it. As I say, now that I could read it as just a book, and sort of with that mythical thing. I suppose the oddest thing about it, which you sort of touched on a minute or two ago, is how this incomprehensible thing is just like a very basic murder mystery. It's a bit like a weak Jonathan Creek. So in that way, it's sort of like, oh, is that it? But then there is another side to it. I find the Gallifrey side, the way Gallifrey is portrayed in this book, is brilliant and is exactly how I'd always want it to be. It's got a sort of magical mythology about it, even the word looming is being brought into existence, which captures fans' attentions. And then the name Lungbarrow and the sort of strange, impossible imagery, and it's all magical and fantastical. And you think, why don't we do Gallifrey like this? Why is it always soldiers running around the panopticon?
Yeah. It's sort of Terry Pratchett's Discworld without the jokes in a way. And as I said, there is this very basic sort of murder mystery at the heart of it. First time reading it 20 plus years ago, it felt like nothing I'd ever experienced before. Because truthfully, there wasn't any other Doctor Who like this. Or if
Yeah.
there was, I hadn't consumed it. The nearest I think you get to it is some of those Sixth Doctor Voyager comic strips.
Yeah, that's not a bad comparison, actually. It's hard for me to comment on whether it's a good finale, I think, because I wasn't there at the time. So this is never sat as apart from it being, the end of that book range, second end, it's never sat there. But I suppose because it's got the balls to go in and go, this is the Doctor's family and this is his house, there is a general feeling of, we could end there then.
Yeah.
Although it actually ends going into the TV movie, doesn't it?
Of course it does. Doctor Who fans need to do that shit.
So,
I think there's only a few times in the show's history where it felt like there was a natural end point. And I think for me, they are here, where you could literally go, okay, this is sort of wrapped up Doctor Who, the classic series. I think it's at the end of Series 9, Capaldi Season 9. I think the Doctor's gone home, he's found Gallifrey. He disappears off into time and space again. You could finish it there. And Power of the Doctor, probably. I think those are the only points where I'm like, yeah, I think Doctor Who's a complete story at that point.
I would just add in Twice Upon a Time, for me, felt like it could be an ending.
Yeah.
And the giggle also really feels like you could just stop there. And maybe they should.
Do you know what doesn't feel like an ending? That fucking reality war.
It's because we got the war between the land and the sea.
Exactly. Oh, I can't wait for that. Yeah.
But all the examples we just named were new series examples where it's a bit more themed. I can't think of another example in any media that feels like the end of the classic series than this.
It also feels like a bit of an up yours to the BBC going, well, at this point, Doctor Who is dead because the show has come back with the TV movie and it's disappeared again. And it's going, you're taking your license back, fuck you. We're kind of spoiling the mystery of the character. And obviously, ultimately, it's just a book. And there's so much spin-off media that came out since that contradicts it. And then the TV show comes back, so it all becomes secondary anyway. But at the time, it must have felt a little bit like, end of Doctor Who, mic drop, fuck the BBC.
Yeah. One thing I forgot. Yeah, you remember that it's like the Doctor family, he's got a fuck ton of cousins.
They're all cunts.
They're all, yeah. They're all good. You forget that this thing has got K9 in it, Leela in it, Romana in it.
Yeah.
It's got all these like...
Chris
everyone's
Quedge.
favourite, Chris Quedge.
Quedgy.
Never really known who Chris Quedge is, but he seemed all right.
Yeah, he seems like a top lad, And he's got the Doctor stuck inside him for parts of it. And that also happens in Doctor Who, but no.
but even after reading it, maybe 2 days passed by. I can't remember how any of them characters factor in. I'll just remember him pissing about in the big house and the murder mystery. Did you figure out the murder mystery pretty quickly?
No, I didn't. I had a vague memory that it obviously wasn't the Doctor because that would have been a hell of a fuck you to the BBC for that. And also, the Doctor's a murderer.
But I thought, what if? Because that to me, I was just instantly thinking, well, how's that happened then? But then I thought maybe at the time with the Seventh Doctor being so dark and everything that they were maybe pushing it to the audience of like. Would the audience at the time have believed that the Doctor might have killed the cousin because the Seventh Doctor was dark?
I think you could potentially go, but it's supposed to be the first Doctor that did it, right?
Yeah, no, but there's he's coming home, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, that story has been told in Joe Lidster's Master because it was there's that whole thing of who killed the kid and went on an evil path. Was it the Doctor or the Master? And it was the Doctor who killed the kid, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they outright confirm it.
Yeah. So the Doctor's killing people all the time. But I don't think he's a callous murderer that often. Let's get in a bit more into the Gallifrey of it. So, how does it handle the world of Gallifrey?
Oh, it's just so good. Did you not think it's like this is the point where if you invest in Platt's world, then you go with it or you don't. It's all so strange. It's weird. fantastical. Like I feel like Gallifrey should be magical because for that thing of like, well, magic is science for people that aren't developed, Yeah. And that's what Gallifrey should be. So the words, as I said before, looming, Lungbarrow, it's all just great. Even the front cover, he's in his house, but he's on a boat like in Venice with paintings on the walls. I think it's all brilliant.
It's something that I was on and off with at the start of the book, but I came round to. It's this thing of, how do you make Gallifrey interesting after the 80s? Because I love Gallifrey, but the 80s made it dull as fuck. Like,
yeah.
I often call it the ad agency of Rassilon, which is just that thing of, my dad worked in an ad agency in the 80s. I've got memories of going there. It looked like the sets of Arc of Infinity. So it is that boring Gallifrey in that it's bureaucratic and it's got the internal squabbling and all this stuff there. But he's made this rich, rich world that just like you want to know more about. And it feels, especially when you get into the house, it feels dirty and disgusting, not in a Dr. Screw way, but like it just feels like, oh, this is not what I expected the houses of the Time Lords to be like.
Yeah, because the houses are like alive and this one's buried and it's been buried for ages. I mean, you're right, like if this was made as on TV, like it possibly might have been, like you hear in the book, Time Lords are being weaved into existence, and that sounds amazing. But on TV, they would have just walked out of a pod like like Victory of the Daleks or something. And it would have looked just naff as hell. But that's what Platt is very complimented with the book.
Yeah, I think it's just this bizarre world. I think it could do with a touch more humour to it. Like, I think it was a bit po-faced and pretentious for me a lot of the time, but not a lot of the time, some of the time. But it's just oozing with atmosphere all through, so you're never bored.
Yeah, and it's fan wanky, but somehow the language is so floral that it you come away feeling like it's not Doctor Who wiki. You know?
So what about, in terms of Gallifrey, what does it tell us about the history and mythology of the Time Lords?
Well, are we going to get into the Timeless Children?
Let's fucking do this.
Yeah, because we got the other backstory versus the Timeless Children backstory.
Yeah.
And there's not much in it, is there? Like,
no. You could probably weave them together, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, and if for the listener, if this is the most boring debate in fandom by this point, we're watching porn later, so just stay tuned.
There's tits and everything.
I suppose it's what do you like? What's palatable the first time you hear it or take it on? And this to me seemed perfect. That another Time Lord called the Other jumps into a loom, which is what creates Time Lords.
Because Gallifrey's barren.
Because Gallifrey's barren, they don't have sex.
Yeah.
Which I think we should have pointed out at the start was the link between Lungbarrow and Dr. Screw.
One the Dr. Fox, and the other there is no Time Lord shagging. But I suppose it's not saying Time Lords don't have sex; it's saying they don't procreate.
Yeah, which you must have been there watching the reality war in the cinema.
Yeah,
and thinking,
I wasn't in the cinema.
And thinking, no way. We're doing Lungbarrow.
For a minute, where I thought, if they say looms, all is forgiven. Russell T Davies,
But no, it's just some genetic bomb or something. But anyway, yeah, the other jumps into a loom, and then centuries later, the Doctor comes out, and it never really goes into too much detail how much overlaps with what or how much he can remember what. But I think it's implied that the Seventh Doctor, more than any other incarnation, is
in touch with his secret life.
With the life before.
With his Joe Martin.
Well, it could be, couldn't it?
Do you know what's interesting? Do you remember that Comic-Con that they did before the launch of Jodie Whittaker's era, where they had Jodie Whittaker and the Fam and Chris Chibnall? Do you remember that at all? It was the San Diego Comic-Con panel, and in it, some fucking nerd comes up and goes, Chris, excuse me, will you be doing anything with Lungbarrow? And Chris Chibnall's like, oh, that's a new adventure, isn't it? It's something about the Doctor's house and origin. oh, we'll see, maybe. And I wonder if at that point something clicked or whether it was a subconscious thing and he went, fucking Lungbarrow. Because in Flux, everybody went, oh my God, is that Lungbarrow? And there's nothing to say it isn't. It's a representation of the Doctor's memories. And so it kind of feels like it could be.
Oh, yeah, and then obviously, yeah.
And then there's the whole Timeless Child thing, which isn't too far away from this.
No, it's not, but I do like this more, surprise. But there's slightly more logic in this one, I think, of logic in the fantasy.
Yeah, sure, mate. Make your silly fucking phone box show make sense.
There's logic in the fantasy that it jumps into something and its essence is recreated. It doesn't change any fundamentals of the Doctor, rather than just they had their past erased. I agree. There's not much in it, but
I don't think there's anything in it, to be honest.
No, but
I
think this is described as the Other and the Doctor are basically two different characters, and how much you want to believe they're linked up is up to you. Like the Doctor's literally reborn out of the Other, whereas the Timeless Children Doctors are all existed and all fine, and then they just get the mind wiped one day in the William Hartnell.
Well, we don't know for certain, do we? I don't know what Big Finish have done, but I imagine
nothing.
Nothing of any interest. She's just gone on some adventures, met the Daleks and forgotten them.
But I mean, before that, before Chibnall came along, Lungbarrow itself had been a bit overlooked because they're kids. They're kids in Sound of Drums, aren't they, looking into the schism? And the Doctor's mum, we think, turns up at the end of time and possibly Hellbent. And I don't think the Susan thing is all that well explained in this book, though, because the Other is with Susan, right?
Yeah, so the Other's granddaughter is Susan, and she is the last born child of Gallifrey. And then when the Seventh Doctor returns there, because the Seventh Doctor runs off, he escapes Gallifrey by going to the before times that you're not at the old times, you're not allowed to. And Susan recognises him and goes, oh, you're Susan. And he sort of recognises her and then goes, oh, do you want to come on an adventure with me in this strange old box?
Yeah, that's a bit of a jump, but
I think the book would work better without it, but that is Doctor Who fans having to explain, A, why Susan made up the initials of TARDIS, because she made it up in the old times and it became adopted by Gallifrey in general. And secondly, where Susan's parents are. So
yeah, because the Doctor can't possibly have had sex. Yeah. Still, at this point, that is the reason that is explained.
I tell you what, Marc Platt must have been sat there watching the TV movie, going, "You fucking kissing bastard!" And wait till he sees Doctor Screw.
This over the Timeless Children any day. Plus, there's only one guy in there. It's just the Other.
And of course, the Other just has a normal lifespan.
Yeah.
Rassilon shows up. Because you can't have Gallifrey without Rassilon.
That's true.
He's back in the old time. So we go right back to the early days of Gallifrey. And I think that's better handled here than, say, in Zagreus, where we get a bit of the vampires in the old time and stuff like that.
I do like the limit that Gallifreyans can't travel in their own timeline. And it sort of always annoys me when that happens in episodes. I can't think of any off the top of my head. They're usually like big finishes or stuff. But it actually, even in Listen, where the Doctor goes back to when he was a kid, I like the idea that they can go anywhere in time and space, but the Gallifrey planet is linear. You're looking at me like I don't give a fuck. Luke.
No. I'm with you. I've said this before. I would make Doctor Who a multiverse show, but there was only one Gallifrey in the centre of it all. So you could go multiple alternative timelines, but there'd only ever be one Gallifrey and it'd be at the centre of everything.
Yeah, well, that's sort of because it makes sense, doesn't it? And if there's only one set of Time Lords and one Gallifrey, that actually makes sense as Time Lords and stuff. Yeah. But, oh God, we're actually being really quite nerdy.
Don't worry. So do we think it's a satisfying backstory for the Doctor?
Yeah, I really like it. And, it's one of those that even though it shouldn't have any effect on me, you sit there and you watch Remembrance of the Daleks and he says his little tantalising lines and you go, oh, I know why.
it really is the climax of the Cartmel master plan, which I know in itself is an affectation. Like, Andrew Cartmel did not have a master plan. He had a bunch of conversations off the cuff, and they threw a few things into scripts. But it really does feel like this story starts on Iceworld and it ends with Lungbarrow.
Yeah, and we all, as much as it might not be a thing, we all want to believe in it as a thing, because up to the point where we seen it transmitted, it was going perfectly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is nice. That's again why it feels like a final chapter,
Yeah.
because it rounds that off, and that is the final arc of the classic series.
So when Marc Platt was approached to write Doctor Who, as you mentioned earlier, he pitched Lungbarrow. Ultimately, what was made was Ghostlight. Can you see any of this in the DNA of Ghostlight, and were they right to make Ghostlight instead?
It's tough, isn't it? It feels like there's a lot of it, but actually, I think if you dig down, there's nothing other than a creaky old house.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, it's Ace's backstory, isn't it?
Yeah. But is it? It's not like this, though, is it?
No. But it's taking, I guess, what you'd say, the emotional beats of Lungbarrow, as in someone's dark secret from a past. One is a potential murder that's not a murder, / being a mythical being from Time Lord mythology, and Ace's is burning down a house because it was full of evil.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to read this and not sort of picture bits of Ghostlight when you're reading it. But yeah, I don't think it overlaps all that much, really.
Yeah. I think you can you can see he's sort of gone, okay, well, I'm still doing the house and the history. I'm kind of glad this wasn't made at the time, because it was never written to the point where this is anything approaching an adaptation, so it would have been different. But they just couldn't have pulled it off with the skill that they've put create the world that is created here. I'm sure they could have done something like Ghostlight with all these really interesting sort of macabre characters, but I just can't see it. As you said earlier, like, the looms would just be him walking out of a pot, and you wouldn't get I suppose that, again, other bits of it are like, they're living off fungus in the house and things like that, and you've got the horrible soup in Ghostlight and stuff like that. But yeah,
there's like a Venice canal through the house.
No, exactly. So I think Ghostlight is the best version of it you would get on TV. You're not getting canals.
And the second sort of the other side of that, not just the effects, but Christ, can you imagine the big finishes if we'd have gone here on TV? Like, if this was a TV story with all those cousins and all that lore and all that backstory, it would have polluted New Who. It would have polluted Big Finish. It's very good, and it works very well, being its lost mythical little book.
Yeah, agreed. And the fact that it's hard to get hold of, as you said earlier, just adds to the mythology of this.
Yeah.
Like, if this was book number 1 in the New Adventures and they'd printed 10,000 of them and you could get them for £1 on eBay, I don't think anybody would give a shit.
No, I don't. The price does quite a lot of heavy lifting. And it's not even a ridiculous price. Like, I know it sort of is, but it's, if you really wanted it, you could get it. It's not something that's out of affordability completely. But that almost makes it more mythical, because it's like, you could sort of get it. You could go into that bank account and spend your savings on it.
Let's talk about looms.
I've wanted someone to say that to me my whole life.
I mean, looms, cousins, and houses. Do you think it's a good mythology? I guess a good way to structure the Time Lord Society?
I think it's brilliant.
Okay.
I think it's brilliant because it's weird, wacky, without feeling particularly wacky. And it's more interesting than they bang.
I went into it expecting to go, this is shit at this time round. Like, what a silly idea. But it does work because it's sold with such conviction, and within the confines of Marc Platt's Gallifrey, which isn't the Gallifrey we know now, it's a really interesting concept.
It's a fantastical floral
Yeah.
Gallifrey, isn't it? But like you said about it being a bit po-faced, that is sort of what makes it work, because it's
Yeah.
so convicted to these
Mm.
laws, these
And-
silly laws.
And it does kind of, in a way, poke fun at these, throwaway remarks of, the Time Lords can only have 13 lives and all this stuff. It's making sense of those silly rules in a way that adds some gravitas to them, I think.
Yeah, somehow. Yeah.
It's like,
And
we've got to structure this society to start like this because we can't have kids. We can prolong life, but we can't have the chaos of everybody living forever. So we need to find a new way to procreate and generate the society so people just don't go old and mad in their 20,000th year or something.
yeah, and like the Doctor having a mum or a brother or a sister, it's just boring, isn't it? Like, you don't ever want the show to really go there. Even when it has gone there, it's always little hints, because it knows how dull it brings Doctor Who down. So just going, he's got 45 cousins instead makes it just more weird and wacky. And there just is something about a loom weaving someone into existence that, it ties into that fantastical thing again that makes it really just, I want this Gallifrey. I want to see this Gallifrey every time we go. I don't want to go in the capital. I want to go out into the lands where these houses are and where these families are.
I also like the fact that it makes the Doctor an outsider, even from his own family, but having always been there. And the fact that the Doctor's family is such a vile, conniving, scheming bunch of pricks, sort of really, I don't know, it's just not what you would expect. I think my thinking is, he's a Time Lord. He came from a very grand society and a grand family. And while it is a family of standing, they're all vile. And actually what happens to them when they get buried in this house that's trying to hide this secret, I'm just like, yeah, all of you cunts deserve this. And no wonder the Doctor ran away from you.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's talk a bit about the Doctor, because it's Sylvester McCoy's, it's the seventh Doctor's final story, one of many, admittedly. It's his second one that year, I think, because he gets one in the comics. I do think it's a successful send-off for him in a way that the TV movie, by its very nature, can't be. And I've not heard The Last Day, and I never intend to, but I'm not willing to go there. But do you like the way the character of the Seventh Doctor's used in it and the journey he goes on?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's in it that much, really. I didn't feel like he was in it that much. But if you come to this as sort of I did, skipping the New Adventures, remembering the trajectory he was on at the end of season 26, he's unsure of motive. He's unsure whether he's killed Quentis himself, whether he actually did do it. He's manipulating slightly. He's got all that character that is typically associated with the Seventh Doctor when it's not him, but here it actually is him, and which feels right because again it's at the end of that arc.
Yeah, he's at his most subdued, and as you say, it's a story about him rather than starring him.
That's actually, you've hit on it there. It's got that subduedness of like Tom in Legopolis, and
Yeah, there's heavy notes of Legopolis in it. I think it's quite a nice story for the great manipulator that is the Seventh Doctor he's become, to actually having to figure out the mystery of his own past, unravel that, something that he really doesn't know all about. And I think that's a good way to go. You mentioned a whole bunch of people earlier. So we've got Romana, we've got Andred is mentioned. Is Andred feature? Leela's there.
Yeah. Andred and Leela.
Andred, Leela, Ace. The fucking Time Lord from the beginning of Genesis of the Daleks shows up. There's a whole array of friendly faces here.
It doesn't feel that fan wanky when you're reading it.
No, because it's scattered. Even the Sisterhood of Khan show up towards the end. But, I mean, it does some interesting... It's not too far away from where Big Finish take Romana and Leela, I don't think, in terms of this sort of uneasy friendship that forms into a stronger bond.
Yeah, Romana definitely. Andred and Leela are sort of the prototype Belle and Vinda in a way, because it's sort of implied. Is it implied that their baby is the Doctor?
Is that implied?
That's a thing that people run with from this.
I don't think that's true.
I didn't get it,
No.
but then I didn't get Ace's lesbian subcurrents in survival. So
Fair. No, I didn't get that at all. But they are. I mean, to say this is about the Time Lords not shacking. Andred and Leela have banged, and she is pregnant. So I guess this is the first child to be born on Gallifrey in X amount of millions of years. And I think that's quite. So it says, oh, we're changing this Gallifrey now. And then the Sisterhood of Khan show up at the end, and they're going to make Leela immortal so that she doesn't die while her kid and Andred die. So that I quite like that. It's not just the Doctor's final adventure, but it's going that Gallifrey can rebuild from what it once was, thanks to nobody thought about shagging aliens.
Yeah, it actually it does a fair bit for Andred, really.
Yeah.
You come out of this novel liking Andred.
Yeah.
In a way that's literally impossible in the Invasion of Time.
In Invasion of Time, you're going, that's who Lila's leaving the TARDIS for. That guy.
Yeah.
She would have been better off staying with fucking the professor from Invisible Enemy or something like that. He's got a bit more to him than that.
It's weird now that we're talking about how this all wraps up really nicely. It is weird that it leads into the TV movie, and 10 minutes after this, the Seventh Doctor is gunned down in San Fran.
Yeah, but it's sort of implied here that his body's ruined from the adventure, from this adventure anyway. So it's only a matter of time before it regenerates, right?
Yeah.
Ace has got to be there because she's so ingrained in the Seventh Doctor's life, and his last words are something along the lines of, "Oh, Dorothy, I've not been Merlin yet," or something like that. I quite like that as a last line for that Doctor, to be honest.
I've no idea what Ace or Dorothy is up to by this point. I mean, I wasn't there, but I just hate this whole Dorothy thing. Just call her Ace. I don't care if she's 60 years old. I literally read this like 4 weeks ago. All I remember is that she rode a motorbike.
Her and Chris are sort of the characters that don't need to be there, but they've got to be there because Chris is the latest companion and Ace is so integral to the Seventh Doctor thing. But to be honest, I know they're involved in the plot, but they don't need to be.
Yeah.
They just make it slightly more complicated for no reason.
I was going to ask you just a quick separate question. Can you spell Quentis's full name?
No.
I can't believe they write it out at one point.
What is it? Go on.
Quintessentialo biolocalata geographia dea Lungbarrow.
Wow. Shocking.
I mean, there's Romana Vachalunda and then there's that, right?
It's also like a Christmas story, right?
This?
Aren't they celebrating Others Tide Eve or something like that?
yeah, they are, yeah.
Is this a Doctor Who Christmas special?
Is this the first Doctor Who Christmas special?
Yeah, why don't we celebrate Doctor? That sounds the sort of thing that Doctor Who fans should do more often.
How Harry Potter fans get on the King's Cross station.
Yeah, happy Others Tide Eve. I've sent you a card. There you go. Happy Loom Day.
Let's do it. Starts at PodCon. Let's do it. You can cut that.
I'm gonna set up my own range of Others Tide Eve cards. You watch.
That's got to be on a Clayton Hickman t-shirt somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't see Clayton Hickman t-shirts anymore. Are they still back? Marc Platt apparently said, and this is unverified, that he tried to get the rights back for it so Big Finish could adapt it. But I don't buy that because the rights for a book usually lie with the author in terms of the text rather than with Virgin. And if they've managed to adapt other Virgin New Adventures, so I don't see why the deal for this one would have been any different, especially since you let the BBC print a copy on their website.
Have they done New Adventures?
Yeah, they've done quite a few. They did Nightshade. They did.
Oh yeah. They did Damaged Goods.
Yeah. So I don't know why, but that feels like a little bit of a. I mean, it feels like bullshit, Luke. Would you like to see this adapted, and I mean adapted, so it doesn't have to be a straight adaptation, for audio or used somehow in the TV series?
I don't think I'd get anything out of audio. I don't know how you feel, but I don't. When the joy of this comes from that mythical element It's just going to be people talking in a sad house, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I would love to see a Doctor Who movie of this.
Is this what we're relaunching with in 5 years' time?
Not
Amazon Prime.
maybe not on IMAX, but maybe no, like a sort of definitely still on BBC One, but this with a budget. I would like to see. Maybe not with Sylvester McCoy. No.
I think the only reason you would want an audio adaptation is to hear Sylvester McCoy saying the lines, and he's far too old to be saying lines at this point anyway.
Yeah. I would have took it in Flux though. If this had been where Flux was going.
They wouldn't have had to do anything apart from say that, oh, that house looks like my childhood house, Lungbarrow. I wouldn't need to go inside it. I wouldn't need any of it. I would just have been happy with that.
But if she had done, if it had been that last episode of Flux, and or like how she uncovered a secret again, and seen her mum or whatever, if that had all been adapted and we were inside that house and it had, rivers running through it and stuff, 10 out of 10.
Yeah. I don't know whether I'd want to see a straight adaptation, but I think at some point, I think we're probably as far away from us ever having this adapted as you could possibly be at this point. But if there was a version of the series that was successful and it was going to jump into the mythology, I don't think you necessarily need looms and this, that, and the other, but just the actual vision of this house as a creepy haunted house story about the Doctor's past, whatever they choose that past to be, I think is something that is worth exploring.
Yeah. I take away the movie comment. I think that was stupid. Nothing happens, I just realised. I'll tell you what, this would be really nice, though, as a comic.
Yeah.
Like, if they took the basic beats of it and fleshed that house out as a comic, and you could still have the Seventh Doctor in it then as well.
Because there's some lovely pictures that they did for the version that was on the BBC website.
Yeah.
But there's only a handful of pictures, and a big graphic novel of this story.
Now you're talking.
Would be amazing.
Yeah.
Do you have much more you want to say on Lungbarrow? Is there anything we haven't covered?
Well, not really.
I mean, Joe Ford would get 3 fucking hours out of this, so why have we only managed 45 minutes or whatever?
I'm too excited about what's coming up. Don't just mean in my trousers. No, it's weird though, isn't it? It's weird. It feels like you should have loads to say. It's got this big reputation, and yet it's really a basic murder mystery wrapped in loads of gorgeous imagery with loads of other characters chucked in. And it's good. But like,
it's good. That's your review.
It's good. And I think, the stuff that 10 years ago might have really got me going, or had a debate about for ages about the Doctor's origins or whatever. It's just hard to get the enthusiasm to care about that stuff much anymore. Because
also, like, those origins, I don't really care, and I'm quite happy for them all to exist. I'm happy for Lungbarrow and the Timeless Child and whatever fucking bollocks Russell T Davies was spewing recently to all exist at the same time, and Doctor Who to also be a human adventurer and all these other things. I think it's all valid and all equally invalid.
But I do think if we were having this conversation around like 2010, that we spend a good hour discussing that origin thing, but it is quite hard to care that much anymore.
Yeah,
I like it as an origin story, but it's not something I'm going to sit there and try and make it fit into every last bit of Doctor Who, which I would have done then, because Doctor Who's too big for that anymore.
Well, I had a great time revisiting it, and it was a pleasure, a little too serious in places, but I mean, it's just such a rich book. And if I could leave it on any note, it's the fact that we find out the terrible Zodin was a sword swallower towards the end of the book. That is all I need in my life. So we must rate it. Is it a clanger, a banger, or an average meander?
Yeah, I mean, overall, my impression is just I'm left like feeling like it's magical. It's such a unique slice of Doctor Who, and it's alien, it's weird, and because like it's about the Doctor's backstory, but it's not just like the Doctor turns up back at his house and his dad's like, "What have you been up to, son?" It's not like that at all. It feels genuinely unique in the Doctor Who universe, and that feels, even the fact that the plot is generic is somehow fascinating. It feels unique, and that feels almost an impossible feat with the amount of Doctor Who media that's out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just sneaks a banger, I think.
Yeah, I think if I was going for the pure story of it, I'd call it an average meander and on the base level of the fan wank, but it does it all with such style that it becomes a banger because it is this impossible climax to the new adventures. And it, again, like, I can completely see why someone who wasn't into the Eighth Doctor adventures, not into the new series, went, and Doctor Who finished in 1997 with Lungbarrow. But it didn't. It's still going, just about limping towards a second grave.
Too hot for TV.
The next thing we're going to cover is Dr. Screw. Some episodes from Series 1, which came out on the 8th of October, 2007. It was produced and directed by Paul Carder and Sam Stonehill. It was written by Paul Carder and Craig Kennedy. It starred Mark Sloan as the Doctor and Ellie Brooke as Holly. It came from Allure Adult Entertainment, a production for the Adult Channel. News at the time, the Sontarans would return in Series 4. And, of course, they also announced that Jeff and Sylvia Noble would be back. Unfortunately, Jeff didn't quite make it. Other releases at the time, from Big Finish, all of this feels weird to think it was out at the same time as this porn, even though I know pornography has existed for the duration of life.
Please, hit me.
Absolution featuring the 8th Doctor Charlie and Keres, the companion chronicle Mother Russia featuring the 1st Doctor Stephen and Dodo, Dalek Empire 4, The Fearless Part 1 and the Final Amendment. On CBBC, we had Sarah Jane Adventures, Eye of the Gorgon, Warriors of Kujak, and Whatever Happened to Sarah Jane.
Love all of those.
From BBC Books, we had The Crystal Snare, War of the Robots, Dark Planet, The Haunted Wagon Train, featuring the 10th Doctor and Martha, and the Doctor Who Encyclopedia. From BBC's children's books, we had the Doctor Who Quiz Book 3 and the TARDIS Model Making Kit. Also released was The Target Book, A History of the Target Doctor Who books by David J. Howe. On DVD, we had The Planet of Evil and the Sarah Jane Adventures Invasion of the Bane. Then we had the Voyager graphic novel featuring the 6th Doctor, Frobisher and Perry, and the comic strip was The First, featuring the 10th Doctor and Martha. So a lot going on in the spin-off media, and Doctor Who is bigger than it's ever been. So perhaps inevitably, there are lots of people trying to cash in on the success of Doctor Who.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, first of all, the Sontarans are back. That's great news.
If only that was the only helmet-shaped head we'd seen in the past few hours. Hello, future Dylan here. Just a word of warning before we step into this next bit. I know this is too hot for TV and there's all sorts of swearing, cursing and whatever sort of talk usually. But this next section, as it covers pornography, is particularly explicit. So this is a warning for anybody who maybe doesn't want to hear bodily fluids or sex being discussed. Now's your time to duck out. No one will blame you. But for the rest of you who want to stick around, well, here it is. Dr. Screw. So, Luke, why are we covering this?
Well, I'm always keen when I'm invited on this podcast to try and push how hot Too Hot is.
This is the hottest we've ever been.
Do you think, is this too hot for TV?
Well, I don't know. But, I mean, it's also, fundamentally, it's not very good porn, so it's but we'll get into that.
It's too hot for Doctor Who Wiki because it's not on Doctor Who Wiki, so that is not. It doesn't count it as any sort of part of the Doctor Who universe. But can I just read you this bit? If you type in sex on Doctor Who Wiki, you do get this response, this whole page actually, but it starts with sex, also known as, and when I read these words out, they come with references to audios and prose. So get ready for this. They also known as shagging, boffing, fucking, hanky panky, hooking up, and how's your father?
Boffing. Boffing is what we used to call farting as kids.
Boffing comes from the two Jasons.
Right. Okay.
Get that on your next two off for TV. What the
Well.
hell's the two J? Hang on.
It's a Benny thing.
Oh, is it right?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. But I think so. We've both watched Doctor Screw. You've watched triple the amount that I have.
So just before we go in, what this is all coming back to me now, but you sent me 9 episodes, right? You sent me 1 to 6 and the last 3. And did you just watch the last 3?
No. So I said we watched the first one and the last 2, so we get a good sort of.
Okay.
If there is any sort of arc, we'll get a thing for it. But you have touched on something that I did want to mention though. Doctor Screw's got missing episodes. Honestly, so because as
I
you
bet
said,
not even Mark Sloan has them.
you said it was really, really hard to find. They're the ones I found. I could not find episodes 7 to 10, which
No.
I'll read them all out in a minute, but.
So we've got missing episodes. We know in existence are episodes 1 to 6 and 9 to 12. If anybody's got those missing,
No, episodes 1 to 6 and 11 to 13.
11 to 13. Of
yeah,
course, it's a 13-part series. So if anybody out there's got them, then please drop us a line and we'll come back and do another episode on those.
Can I just give the episode titles for the missing ones?
Why don't you give the titles for all of the episodes, because the people will want to know.
Okay, yeah. So as I said, it is structured like an RTD 1 series. So we've got episode 1, Holly. Episode 2, Medieval Muff. Episode 3, Holly's Mum. Episode 4, Stone Age Shagging. Episode 5, I really want to hear what you thought of this one because I've not seen it. Nazi Interrogation.
Well, that was a good one.
Yeah, episode
That's
6.
where the arc starts going.
Episode 6, Future Massage.
Yeah. Well, the arc's in there as well.
Yeah. 7 is Stuck in a Black Hole. So
Didn't see that.
These are the missing ones now. These 4: Stuck in a Black Hole, Blow Up Invasion, Out of Juice, Wrestling for Holly, and then the last 3: A Holiday in Egypt.
Yeah, that's the big special effects number, that one.
Capture of the Nemesis, not that one, nerds. And Farewell Shag.
What a series!
Yeah, if this isn't a banger, something's gone wrong.
There's a lot of banging. There is a lot of banging. Inevitably, this is a story of Dr. Screw landing somewhere, getting caught up in some crazy jape, having sex, and coming either on someone's chest or their face, and then heading off back into time.
Yeah, I mean, so all the episodes are like 15 to 20 minutes, and I'd say there's usually like 2 or 3 minutes of plot at the beginning, followed by 15 minutes of no plot, no dialogue, just sex. I think it's what classic Who fans would call padding.
It's a lot of running down corridors, isn't it? Or was it throwing a sausage up an alleyway?
But I found a blurb online. Are you going to put a blurb in?
I mean, you can read the blurb.
I found a blurb online, which I don't know where this has come from or who wrote it, but Dr. Screw is on a mission to hunt down his nemesis, the Mistress, and stop her evil plan to take over the planet Earth. Using the TARDIS, Dr. Screw's space-age ship, for his time-travelling adult adventures, he blags and shags his way across medieval England, occupied France, the Stone Age, a massage parlour in outer space, and an extremely close encounter in a black hole. Dr. Screw is the Adult Channel's new series featuring girls, aliens, time travel, and of course, a whole lot of shagging.
There wasn't a lot of aliens. In fact, the only aliens I saw were in the opening seconds of episode 1, where there's some sort of space battle going on that's got nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
Before
what was that?
we crashed down to Earth, I think somebody went, we need to put some fucking aliens in this quickly.
Well, I couldn't tell whether it was, for some reason, whether it was the Doctor and the Mistress in some sort of form above the Earth.
Maybe, because there is a point.
he says something about taking a form, doesn't he? Or
Yeah,
like,
and at some point he stretches open his face and light comes out of it
oh yeah,
in episode 1, as if to say, "Look, I'm an alien." So Dr. Screw may not be a traditional Time Lord. I mean, he's certainly not a traditional Time Lord in the Lungbarrow sense.
no, he wasn't loomed, was he?
No, he is poon over loom. You know.
I would say. So if we get into the first episode, Holly, I would say it was quite disorientating from the off, right? It was quite, in that 2 to 3 minute before the 15 minutes of padding, it was quite hard to know exactly what was going on, because you're right, there's this thing in space. Then Dr. Screw walks out as a rock star.
Yeah, he's a big star on this planet, apparently.
Where he's getting interviewed. Then he walks down an alleyway, opens his face, as you've just said. Then he burps at a reporter and
throws up in the TARDIS.
And then she comes back and invites him into her house. This is Holly, by the way, the titled Holly.
Yeah.
And I was like, he burped at you and you're inviting him into your house.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if that was something to do with the crazy light powers he had in his...
Treat him mean, keep him keen, you know?
Well, exactly. But, generally, the point is, it was confusing.
Yeah. I thought for a second they were doing something quite funny with when he goes and throws up in the TARDIS, that they were going to play with your expectations, and actually he was just throwing up in a portaloo, and then he'd have a spaceship somewhere else. But no, this is not that clever.
No, it's not that clever. So I did watch, it just rolled on, so I did watch a bit of episode 2, because I had to see where it carried on from, and he takes episode 2 starts with him taking Holly to the TARDIS, which is parked in the same spot, and then they go into time and space.
Yeah, and episode 2 they go out on location. They're in some like ruins somewhere where they come across a lady quite literally come across a lady who has had sex with like the king's wife or something, and so they all have sex.
It actually starts like Day of the Doctor, I thought.
It's just like Day of the Doctor. In fact, I believe that had Matt Smith turned down the episode and David Tennant, they were just going to show this.
It was Moffat's head version of Day of the Doctor. We should stick with episode 1 for a minute before railing through the others. I was disappointed that he finds a vibrator, right? And it feels like it's repeating this is episode 1 in Holly's flat. It feels like it's repeating the beats of Rose, and this would be the bit where Eccleston finds the Auton arm.
Yeah.
Instead, he finds a vibrator.
Yeah, because he's previously done the ears thing in the mirror, hasn't he?
Yeah, he does that. And he calls it...
Someone's a fan.
Yeah, Mark. And he calls it the sonic dildo and promises to use it, but spoiler, he never does.
I've seen what Dr. Screw's working with. He doesn't need the sonic dildo.
Right, let's talk about Dr. Screw then. Yeah. What do you think of him? Yes.
What a great actor. He's not too far away from a fan film Doctor, you know?
Not at all.
In terms of his hammy acting, that isn't very good acting, and it's somebody sort of doing an impression of David Tennant.
It's someone doing an impression of David Tennant dressed in Christopher Eccleston's clothes. It's more jarring than you think. And also, he's meant to be this human rock star, but alien, but Time Lord shagger. Yeah.
But the production values are the same as a as a fan film as well. In fact, I've seen fan films with better production values than this. But Dr. Screw himself is really fucking annoying, you know? Like, you know when people say they get annoyed at David Tennant? Dr. Screw's got nothing on. David Tennant is a saint compared to that.
Yeah, David Tennant doesn't unveil his knob and say, "Do tuck in," does he?
Well, he might do, but... and he has a little catchphrase as well, doesn't he, that they cut to every now and then. And it's him stood at the logo, which I'm assuming is where the break was. And what does he say?
I tell you, you've watched more than me.
I'll drop it in.
You're the fan.
I'll drop it in. I've got the Dr. Screw tattoo.
Fawcett, canny linguist.
He is very hateable He's got Tennant's sort of Dick Van Dyke accent and spiky hair, and he wears these sunglasses like Capaldi, but he's dressed like Eccleston. I mean, where was he in the Timeless Children montage?
Really far at the back.
But no matter how hateable he is, I did think for you, he doesn't cry, so he's already one up on Shooty Gatwa.
Yeah, he's no David Tennant, but maybe he's got a little bit more range than Shooty Gatwa. No, I'm being facetious. I would rather, if I had a choice, I would rather watch an episode of this because it's shorter than the R2D2 here.
Well, okay, and then so we've established Dr. Screw is TARDIS. He's on Earth. He's in Holly's flat. We've got to talk about the porn, Dylan. We've got to talk about the porn.
Would it surprise you to know that I didn't watch all of the porn all the way through?
That's cheating. As long as you watched it in episodes 1, 12, and 13.
I watched it all in episode 1. And it got less than... I mean, I've only got so many wanks in me, my friend.
Raw dogging porn.
But, I mean, it's quite easy when it's not sexy. Like, there's nothing in this that particularly appeals to me, you know?
Yeah.
Whether it's the music, whether it's Dr. Screw's acting, whether it's their acting, it's all very driven by the male gaze, I would say. And ultimately, it's that British sort of, oh, isn't shagging funny? Come and take a touch of me jubblies. It's that sort of thing.
It's exactly that. And I think the point which I'll build to, even when we've sort of talked about the other ones, is that this starts off, and the idea started off as, oh, this will be really funny. Let's watch Dr. Screw. And by the end, you're shaking in a corner. Please stop. You know that bit of the In-Betweeners where Jay's like, thanks to me, we're watching Simon get wanked off. And then it pans over all of them and they just get sadder and sadder. That's how it felt watching these 3 episodes.
Fortunately, there's a lot of light-hearted, great comedy and some fantastic sci-fi to spruce things up in between.
Well, so the porn, I was quite shocked at how bad the porn looks.
Yeah.
It's filmed like a Bill Baggs film.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, this is Adult Channel 101. Like, they've got I think, because the whole point was back then that you couldn't show porn on television if it didn't have a plot. So
Right.
they were constantly... That's why things like the lighter stuff like Diary of a Window Cleaner or Emmanuel exist. And ultimately, by the time you get to the late 90s, early noughties, they figured we can just do a parody of any old stuff, but it's got to have a plot in order to get broadcast. You can't just show gratuitous shagging.
Right, that makes sense. But I mean, on this episode, because she's sucking him off, and you can't quite see his cock for ages, and then the finish, he finishes
The big finish, if you will.
The big finish feels deliberately hidden, and I thought, oh, is this a TV thing? But then in episodes 12 and 13, no, it's just everywhere.
I think they're keeping the big reveal.
So-
But I did have to wonder, you know, we talk about the quality of special effects. Was his jizz always real? Sometimes it looked a bit more jizzy than... I hope people are still listening to this. And I hope that Daisy in the other room can't hear me talking about this, because she doesn't know what I'm talking about tonight.
Within these 15 minutes, he gets sucked off. Then then he licks her out. Then they do speed bump and reverse cowgirl. I mean, I was sat there just waiting for the shot window dummies to crash in.
That would have made it more exciting.
Yeah, that's what we needed.
If we could have seen the blow-up invasion, that would have been a riff on the Autons, I think.
Yeah, I think because it was released on DVD and on TV, I think I was expecting sort of good camera angles and better music. I was surprised by how shit and smutty it was. And was just, please get Graham Harper and Murray Gold in there.
There is a sense like that this is so dirty and wrong that we can never talk again after this. This is the end of our friendship.
This had 2 writers.
I know. I looked into those writers, actually. I looked into the production staff. And needless to say, they don't do a lot outside of the adult.
They've gone into witness protection.
Paul Carter's work is all adult work and finishes in 2012. Sam Stonehill, 2007. So he only had a few things. And that was the last thing he did. But the other person,
Robin Bland.
Robin Bland, Craig Kennedy, still going strong today, working in the adult industry.
Fair enough too.
He's made a great career. I wonder if he's perhaps the owner of the company that makes this Allure Adult Entertainment.
You could, I'm not saying you should, you could get in contact with him to find out if there are more series of Doctor Screw.
I could invite him on the podcast.
Put that question to bed forever. Literally.
Interesting thing about Paul Carter, I did find another Paul Carter who also works in film and television, doing sort of special effects and stuff, whose career starts in 2012. And I wonder whether he was the guy doing all the CGI and stuff and was like, I'm going legit after this. Because I was a bit like, there's a whole big thing in film and television where people don't like the crossover into adult films. So when I used to work at QVC, the shopping channel, there was a lot of freelancers there who would also freelance on like Babe Station and the adult channel doing the live broadcasts. And they talked to you about it in the pub, but they were like, the management can never find out because they won't employ me again. And it's the same across, like, you see porn stars who try to get into more serious films, and largely it's because they don't have the skills, but there are some terrible horror films and stuff they end up showing in. But they're looked down upon within the industry, essentially, rightly or wrongly so. So I can imagine somebody being in the industry behind the scenes for a few years and going, I've actually got some transferable skills here, so I'm going to try and wipe this clean.
Are we going to be looked down upon in the Doctor Who podcast community from this point on? Because I think
quite possibly ostracised.
But I think we've done a service in a way.
We've done this so you don't have to.
Yeah, literally. But it does also put us in the position of being the Doctor Screw experts, which I'm not sure I like that either.
I think we're probably more of an expert on it than any of the people who've worked on it.
I think the one last thing to mention with episode 1 is it does set up an arc, doesn't it?
Yes.
Because it sets up, the arc is to find and stop the Mistress, and the Mistress appears at the end, like Missy did in Series 8, and just kills 2 literal goons, and it leaves it on a bit of a tantalising tease.
That's true, and she doesn't appear again until interrogated by Nazis.
Oh, what? So it does sort of...
Yeah, she's in what's the massage one called?
Future Massage.
Yeah, she's in Future Nazi Interrogation and Future Massage.
I'm really excited. Genuinely, I'm really excited to hear what happens in those episodes then. But let's go in order. You take us on a whistle-stop tour of the next 4.
Okay, so Medieval Muff, we sort of talked about. They have a threesome with somebody. Holly's mum is a trip back to the 60s. It's not quite a Father's Day. Holly tells the Doctor her mum was a bit into free love and stuff in the 60s, so he drops Holly off and goes back to a party that his mum's at and shags her after smoking a spliff. Stone Age shagging. Unsurprisingly, they land in the Stone Age. They hear a dinosaur but don't see one because, obviously, budget. And so the Doctor, a Stone Age woman, and Holly end up in a cave where the Doctor encourages the 2 girls to cuddle up to each other, and then they all fuck. He basically forces them to have sex for his own pleasure. Finishes on her chest. Nazi Interrogation. The TARDIS lands in the middle of a forest during the Normandy invasion in 1941. A Nazi shows up, kidnaps the Doctor, they tie him up, and the Mistress, a bit like in Spyfall, has been shagging her way through the Nazi ranks in order to become head of some sort of secret division, and she interrogates him by fucking him.
You are making it sound like these plots are quite good. Were they quite good?
No. Then he shoots her with the sonic screwdriver and leaves.
So it does get used?
Yeah. Oh, of course, yeah.
Sonic dildo.
The sonic dildo. Future Massage, they're on the run from the Mistress. The Doctor slips a disc in his back, so Holly suggests they go for a massage. So they go for a massage, and some woman gives them a massage and wanks them both off, and then they have an orgy. But it turns out, all of a sudden, after Dr. Screw's had a jizz, that the masseuse is a robot controlled by the mistress, and she orders the woman to kill Dr. Screw and Holly, and they destroy it with the sonic dildo.
and then there's 4 episodes, so we just can't know what happens.
Yeah, I imagine that's the really good stuff. I reckon it's the Fury from the Deep, you know?
Yeah.
That sort of adventures. He always jizzes on their face or their tits, never anywhere else.
Where else is there?
Inside them, on their knee, their elbows. No. Anyway, so which leads us on to episode 11. This is the big budget one. The Doctor leaves Holly somewhere because he needs a holiday, so he decides to go to ancient Egypt. The TARDIS crashes into the face of the Sphinx, and that's why the Sphinx has got a chipped face. And then he has a threesome with 2 Egyptian hot women. And he says the words, "Who wants to drink some doctor milk?"
Where does he get the energy, Dylan?
I know. He's got more energy than fucking David Tennant running down those corridors. But at the end of the episode, he gets a message from Holly saying there is something strange happening in London and he needs to go back.
Right, I'm with you now because I
mistress.
watched the last 2 minutes of 11, so I knew what happened at 12. And just before we cover that finale, I'll send you this if you've not seen it, but weirdly enough, Charlie Brooker did a review of episode 2, Medieval Muff, in The Guardian in 2006. It's a fun read.
Amazing. Well, Charlie Brooker and us are the only people that know anything about Dr. Screw.
Right. Oh, and one question actually for you. Out of all those episodes that I've not seen, would you recommend any?
I would recommend A Holiday in Egypt simply for the fantastic special effects sequences and the fantastic sparkling dialogue.
And the quote. Yeah. Cool. Right. And then Capture of the Nemesis, episode 12.
But you think the mistress is going to be the nemesis, but the Doctor's the nemesis.
You're well into this.
Yeah, well, mate, look, I've been so starved of a Doctor Who series with a decent arc for some time. Ever since Chris Chibnall left, that, you know, I'll take it where I can get it, much like Dr. Screw.
For me, it does go sort of Bad Wolf cracking time, the mistress. The rest of them are shite, really, aren't
Yeah.
they? The Promised Land, get in the bin. The mistress every day. But yeah, she sort of uses the telephone trick that the Master uses in the Time Monster to fool Benton.
Yeah,
to lure the Doctor in.
the writers are big fans.
Yeah. To lure the Doctor to her. And then the Doctor well, I can't remember if the Doctor's there yet, but the mistress already has Holly tied up. And I did write down this sparkling dialogue from Holly where she says, "Fuck off, the Doctor's going to kill you for this." I found this plot slightly confusing. So the Doctor's there tied to a chair and the mistress and Holly start getting off.
Yeah, the Doctor's basically getting cucked.
Yeah. And he sat there, like, hands behind his back, tied up, saying, "Can I join in, please? I'll suck one nipple," is verbatim what he says. But plot-wise, I wasn't sure why he wanted to join in, whether it was part of a plan or he was improvising.
He's a dirty, dirty boy. He just loves a good shag.
And I was also unsure what the mistress's plan was now that she had him. But then he tries to do some Venusian Aikido on her, but the mistress Davros saps him, and she Davros saps Holly's tits as well. And when he turns around, he's being meglost. He's old.
Yeah. Well, I think this is their version of Last of the Time Lords, isn't it?
My next comment is, it's like the Master sucking Tennant Gollum off in Last of the Time Lords, because he asks for one last shag before his bones turn to dust, and she grants it. But this was before Last of the Time Lords, Dylan.
What? No, we've just announced that.
I thought you said it was 2006.
2007.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. The script for this must have been written well before Last of the Time Lords.
Maybe Russell T Davies took his influence from this. Maybe they're all at it. So the Doctor not only ages, but he loses his libido. He looks down into his trousers and goes, "Oh no," which is a great moment.
It's sort of thematically right for Dr. Screw that would be the stakes.
Yeah, absolutely. So then they fuck, all three of them. And then he uses the sonic dildo again to send the mistress into a time warp.
Yeah.
The plot's over, but there's another episode.
So is this one of the ones where you skipped quite a lot of the shagging?
Yeah.
See,
Have you
because
got some juicy stuff.
I think because I watched 3 and I knew I was going to watch 3, and I wouldn't come on this podcast without doing my due homework. I was like, I just got to sit through it and see if anything happens. But as like 15 minutes of threesome sex went by, I did think. Well, I've had many thoughts. I thought Holly or the mistress. That one crossed my mind. I thought, has Moffat ever watched this? Has he had it on in the background whilst he wrote Matt Smith's era?
Almost certainly.
And then I thought, if I'd have done this, I think I'd have had the mistress to peg him. That feels like it would have been a bit more raising the stakes.
Well, Mark Sloan isn't beyond doing non-conventional pornography, because I did look and he does have one gay movie to his credit on the adult equivalent of IMDb, where it notes that he was the top, though, so maybe he wouldn't get pegged. But I did look at a couple of his other credits, and he has many.
Which incarnation did he play in the gay one? It's a shitty Gatwa.
Of course. William Hartnell. But he's done a couple of other parodies on riffing on famous things, including From Dusk Till Porn, The Iron Lady Garden, and For Your Thighs Only. So this isn't his first spoof parody porn of a famous bit of IP.
For Your Thighs, that is good. That is good.
What do the Disney lawyers have to say about Dr. Screw?
Rein in the IP. But this, honestly, like 15 minutes I was sat there watching all this stuff happen. And when I took my cock out of my hand for a second, I realised the plot had gone to shit. Right.
and you were now on 4 to Doomsday Part 3 and still going.
Why is the mistress, so they've assuming, they've been tracking down all series and that she wants to kill the Doctor. Why is she now letting Dr. Screw lick her out? I was annoyed. I was annoyed at the plot holes. But actually, I was really bored. Like, the background in this one is just a white wall.
Yeah.
They've
run out of money.
Yeah, it sounds like the sort of thing that people say about, like, when they're making jokes about watching porn or sex. Oh, I just, like, it was more interesting to watch the background. In this case, it actually was more interesting to watch the background. It's genuinely crap and just ugly porn, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an ugly production. Even taking out the content of it, it's just shit.
Yeah, and this was the point where I was like, this is not funny. I want to go home now. It's not fun anymore.
and what, you weren't at home when you were watching this? What, you were on the bus?
Oh, no. I waited for Rachel to go, like, out one night, and then I put it on the big screen. I gave it the biggest, like, premiere it could possibly have.
I put the chain on the front door just in case.
Earpods in. What was the quote?
Tub of lotion next to me and some industry standard blue roll.
Final thing on episode 12. What was the quote you said from episode 11? He said,
"Who wants to drink the doctor's milk?
I'll raise you." The one he says in episode 12 is the horrible, "I think it's time for the doctor's medicine."
Oh, why am I thinking of Calpol?
And I've made one note here which says, "Bloody hell, Dr. Screw," I thought at one point. "You take no mercy."
I don't think he's necessarily interested in the people he's having sex with having the best time at all.
No, and that also contributes to the ugliness of the production, I think.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't feel like, from the bits I've seen, that you ever witness a woman having an orgasm.
That's true, and you've seen the whole series that you possibly can see.
Yeah,
I wonder if there's telesnaps of out of use.
I don't know. We'll have to find out. Where was John Cura when we needed him? He was dead, and he'd be turning in his grave.
His hands were full.
Are we ready to move on to Farewell Shag?
We are.
Well, where does this take us then, Luke?
So this is weird because it's a coda more than a finale, right? The finale was the one we've just had. The story arc's done, and he just goes back to Holly's for one last drink, and like they cheers, and she says the line, "Oh, Screwy, here's to a journey we'll never forget." Does she call him Screwy throughout the series?
No, I don't think so.
No, it was. I found it quite an odd nickname to come this late in the game. But of course, out of nowhere, Holly's flatmate comes down the stairs, recognises him as a rock star, and shagging in shoes. That rock star thing, does that ever come up again in the set? No.
Not in the what episodes I've seen.
So it is just a one. So it's a bit like Bill's puddle girlfriend. It's just at the beginning and the end.
There was a puddle of something at the beginning and the end.
Yeah. What did you think?
I think it's a disappointing end to the series. You know, it's no parting of the ways.
No.
It's no the Doctor falls.
But then neither is it an Empire of Death.
No, neither. I mean, I think I'd take Empire of Death over that sorry threesome.
It's really sad, and it actually reminds me of the Invasion of Time in that it's like low budget end of the season stuff where they reuse the sets, the money's run out. I mean, everything about it, you know, from top level, as you just said, you know, you never see a woman have an orgasm, to the ickiness. He keeps his socks on.
I wouldn't take my socks off in some of those rooms. I'd be like, I'm not letting my feet touch this floor. Who knows what's been on it?
Yeah, and even like, you know, it's called Farewell Shag. Holly doesn't even get the farewell shag. They even botched the character resolution. She's at one point sat at the top of the bed with her legs open, whilst them two are just getting it off. You think, of all the ones where the companion really should have had the spotlight on them, this was the one.
Yeah, but unfortunately not. But I think she was probably just happy to be out of it, you know.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. Two things. I would like to talk about the CGI, and I'd like to talk about the music, because that's what the fans are really here for.
Yeah.
Now,
okay.
It starts with a cheap rip-off Doctor Who theme, which could be the theme to any number of BBV audio plays. And indeed, the CGI is of that sort of quality of the late 90s. Ultimately, we're not in the late 90s at this point. But when the theme started, I was like, oh, I think this might be good. They've gone to the effort of making something that sounds like Doctor Who, but doesn't infringe the copyright. So I was a little bit like, oh, maybe. And then the CGI, sort of that late 90s Sci-Fi Channel style CGI, very basic. And then the moment we get to actual footage, I'm suddenly like, no, this is absolute dog shit. But there were also moments in the early episode where there's some clearly library orchestral music, and I was like, this is better than some of Murray's stuff in season 1.
No.
Not the music when they're fucking, but some of the action music, I was like, and it's like, oh, I'm like, this is better than Westminster Bridge. Fuck off.
Can you imagine the Doctor's season 1 theme turning up in any of this? it would be so weird. The tune sort of, I mean, people love that early 8th Doctor grungy theme on Big Finish.
Yeah.
I'm not really a fan of it at all. It reminds me of this tune, really.
Did David Arnold do this as well?
For the CGI, yeah, I thought for a low budget film for the time, it was perfectly acceptable. It was better than the porn. Christ alive. I mean, I don't think there were sound effects where the Brian Hodgson wasn't doing a wheezing, groaning side.
No,
it was Mark's though.
The TARDIS, when it makes some weird sound, but it also has the vague sounds of muffled in there. It's a woman shagging sound.
I never clocked that.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear it take off as many times.
It was a woman rubbed up against a piano.
Yeah. That's good. You go into this thinking it's going to be really fun, but there was a part of me in this that was sat there thinking, isn't this the programme that's meant to go anywhere and do anything?
No, that's Doctor Who.
Well, yeah, I know, and I think that's why fundamentally that's genuinely why this didn't work. Doctor Who varies week to week. This didn't. It just upped the stakes by turning sex into a threesome. But yeah, I mean, fundamentally, I joked about the padding before, but 85% of these episodes are very badly filmed, very boring, at times actually uncomfortable porn.
Yeah, agreed. I have one more question for you.
Go on.
Which Doctor do you think has a bigger dick than Mark Sloan?
There's only one, isn't there? It's Chris Eccleston. Well, I was just going to say, but is Doctor Screw canon? And I'll put forward my quick argument for you. So, is Eccleston in the Doctor Dances? If we assume Doctor Screw is canon, he's not lying. In Flesh and Stone, the Doctor says he hasn't had sex for a while. The time would add up. And he certainly knew how to make River Song happy because she mentioned she was quite the screamer. So in my mind, I think Mark Sloan is as canon as the rest. And he's actually had more screen time naked than Joe Martin and John Hurt combined.
Incredible. Are you aware of Devious, the fan film that's got John Pertwee at the end? And the character in that is supposed to be a mid-regeneration Doctor between Troughton and Pertwee. So this is
Eccleston intended. That's genius, Dylan.
So at some point before that Children in Need special, Mark Sloan splinters off into an alternative dimension and shags his way through 4 hours of mediocre to poor
and devious he is.
There's no justice for Joe Martin, is there? I mean, he's got more screen time than Paul McGann, right?
Yeah, true.
Fucking hell. Where's the audio series of Doctor Screw? The only thing worse than watching this would be just caught listening to it like on your commute to work.
Yeah, because like with Doctor Who fans, we want to bring something funny as well to Too Hot for TV. And like I really want to like it, you know? I really want to like the silliness of it. It's the fact that the actual thing it's made for is terrible.
I think there's probably like almost a carry-on version of Doctor Who as a spoof that could possibly work, that is a bit cheeky and ultimately quite uncomfortable, but not as gratuitously bad sex as this.
It's definitely that it's naughty and horrible that makes it like strangely appealing, though, isn't it? It's like so. We're basically building up there, aren't we? And it's like it's not Doctor Who, and it's not quite porn. And then my question was: is the Doctor Who universe greater for having this in it? And it's filmed badly, it's acted badly, it's all quite bad. And even after suffering all of it, it's sort of still a bit charming. Like, to quote Videodrome, it has a philosophy. And somehow I respect its existence.
I think it goes to show how popular Doctor Who was at the time, that it's worth parodying, because there's been porn parodies for years and years and years, but nobody, as far as I know, did Doctor Who. There's a couple more, which maybe we'll come back and do. We won't. But there are a couple more, and it is a testament to how big it was. It is dreadful, but it's slightly endearing that it even exists, and that somebody thought, like, someone's taken time and money, not much money, and gone, we are going to create this series, and go to the bother of emulating a Russell T Davies style series in its most basic form.
Arc, and there's, as you say, callbacks like the ears and things, and it's the fact there's even smidgens of that in this terrible porn parody is in itself endearing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we've got to rate this now.
Doctor Screw. In some ways, we're all his children.
Is it a clanger, a banger, or an average meander?
I think, like Doctor Screw's limp cock, it's an average meander.
I've got to go clanger because it is fundamentally not very good, but I am very happy we covered it, and I'm very happy it exists. It's not for the faint-hearted, you know?
I just wouldn't recommend this to anyone. But
No.
it is that it's got a philosophy thing. There's something weirdly. It's the idea of it is endearing. You know, I rate the idea of it an average meander.
Okay.
But God, no one don't.
And that theme tune's a fucking banger, mate.
Too hot for TV.
Luke, we've come to the end of our journey together, and as said, we're getting near to the end of the series, so thank you for joining me today and helping me see out this version of Doctor Who Too Hot for TV. I know you'll be joining me back over Christmas because there is going to be the Too Hot for TV advent calendar with full of surprises.
Whoop, whoop.
One of those surprises has been spoiled. It's Luke Molloy. But if people want to find you on the internet, do you want to promote yourself? Where can they find you?
Well, I mean, I think best place is still Twitter. I don't really use it, but if you ever want to get in contact with me, that's where it'd be. And then I just stay in contact through all the other social medias. I don't really have any Doctor Who projects on or anything at the moment. We're all in that downtime from Doctor Who, aren't we?
The wilderness.
Yeah, the wilderness too.
Now's the time to bring back Dr. Screw.
I've started watching, other things, and
What? You're not watching fucking Blake 7, are you?
Oh God, no! It's dull as shit. I'm around. I'm not hard to find, I don't think, on the internet. So
You are not hard to find. And you show up on Strictly Come Hamster from time to time, and anything Joe Ford's doing, you'll be there at points. Next time, myself and Jackson, in our journey through the not who's of the 90s and early noughties, we've come to the end. And so we're going to look at the Mark Gatiss, Clayton Hickman, Gareth Roberts pitch for Doctor Who in 2001 and the Leakley Bible. And this really will be the last episode of the series. But as I said, we're back at Christmas and there is much planned beyond then. But until next time, I've been Dylan.
And I've been Luke.
And this has been Dr. Screw, Too Hot for TV.
Too hot for TV.
Go into your overdraft. So I'm just having a quick look on eBay, and there are 3 copies now, all floating around the £150 mark. So
Exactly.
it's no So Vile a Sin.
No, what is that these days?
Hold the line, please.
But do you know the only people that care about So Vile a Sin are the ones that collect the new adventures?
Yeah, that's true. Oh, it's gone down in value a little bit, actually. So far, they were going for hundreds of pounds, and now it's about the same as Lungbarrow. So, guys, if you want, be gone. Doesn't matter. There's one for 120 quid here. Oh no, that's a reprint. Anyway, I'll cut this. But yeah, so around 300 quid. So I've seen So Vile a Sin go for.
But any Doctor Who geek feels like they care about Lungbarrow. Only New Adventures geeks care about the rest of them.
Yeah, because So Vile a Sin is important. I mean, I've never read it, but it's important in the run of Doctor Who New Adventures because it's the one where Ros died and it was printed out of order because Ben Aronovich had some mental health problems and couldn't finish the book. So it was the least printed because it was the last one published, but it wasn't supposed to get published there. But it's just part of the New Adventures arc, whereas this is the Doctor Who arc, it feels like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fawcett, canny linguist.
I'm joined by a regular around these parts. It's Luke Molloy. Luke, how are you?
And Parks.
I was going to sort that out in the edit.
Fawcett, canny linguist.
That is going to... I'll cut this bit, but that is going to tank. I don't know anybody that's excited about that apart from fucking Tharies and Matthew Purchase.
This is going after the credits. But
Fawcett, canny linguist.
But it's not just this series. There are 4 series. There is
I don't-
other. No, there are. I've seen the DVD covers. There's different companions. Like there is more than just this. And I've seen an episode list somewhere for the second series. So I think there's 4 series of this, each 12 episodes that are about 20 minutes long.
But I'm actually disagreeing with you on the podcast. I did so much research and I couldn't find
This.
I couldn't find anything to imply that there was definitely not more than 2, and I feel like the second one was only planned. But
No, I've seen DVD covers.
are you sure it's not volume 4 of series 1?
Hang on. Hold the line. I'll edit this bit out.
We've never had this on Too Hot for TV before. Disputing with the Overlord.
Fucking hell. I mean, they have. I just cut it out and tell them they're wrong.
I really went on a deep dive and I couldn't find any evidence of there being more than this series.
Do you know what? Having seen it, I think you're right. Although, wait. Yeah. I think you're right. We'll delete this bit. So we've got missing episodes.
Fawcett, canny linguist.